to be blessed what is going to take place. So what I wanted to do is to just to kind of to remind you all about what the Vision Book Club is. And we'll talk a little bit more about it when Dr. Patricia Bailey come on. She's going to be taking the lead on this tonight because we're going to have some great speakers. We have 4 speakers that's going to come and they're going to talk about the miseducated parent. So, you know, in the Vision Book, we have 12 components in the Vision Book. And one of the components is about parenting. And so tonight, we're gonna pull that and we're gonna abstract that and we're gonna cast vision to many parents that are out there. So I would love for you all to do, before we really dive into it and bring Dr. Patricia Lee Bailey up to come alongside me and help me through this night, I would like for you all to go on to Facebook and I would like for you to share. And this is so important because in the time as this right now, when kids are being homeschooled, I want you to share. So every parent, every grandmother, because we have a lot of grandmothers that are out there that are taking care of their children. And so we want them to hear what is going to take place tonight from our great, amazing speakers that we have before us. And so we don't want their time and their voice to be wasted. We want their voice to go and inspire and to impact and to cast vision into parents and grandmothers that are taking care of children. And not only that, for the children that are listening out there, the teenagers, their brothers and their sisters, so that we can be able to make Black Lives Matter. We always talk about Black Lives Matter, but this is one piece that we're gonna make Black Lives Matter, talking about the education piece. Now, everybody matters as well, but it is important for us to understand what we're going through now. And I said my duty in Black Lives Matter is helping people cast vision and to stay focused, okay? So, but what I want to do is get me off this platform right now. And is Dr. Patricia Bailey on? I haven't seen her yet.
I'm here.
Oh, she's here. So what I want to do is I want to bring my friend, my mentor, Dr. Patricia Bailey. She has been walking me through this whole entire process. Last Wednesday, I was praying, I was seeking God. And when you know God is in the midst of everything, he actually moved, and he moved fast. And God always knows who to get to move fast. So I was in prayer last Monday and I was like, God, how should I do my book launch? What should I do? And I was praying for 1 hour seeking God's face, okay? And oh my goodness, after I got off, my cousin Cheryl Collins can attest to you. After I got off the phone, within 1 hour, I got a call from Dr. Patricia Bailey. And she was like, what you doing? What's going on? And then I began to share with her and she said, we got this. And I got off the phone. I was like, God, oh my God. So I just want to bring my mentor up, and who is carrying me along and teaching me everything that what we're going through with launching the book and collaboration and just working together. I just want to bring her up. So Dr. Patricia Bailey, please take the stage.
Oh, I want to first start out by saying I haven't seen you ladies in a few weeks. Cheryl, I see you. Where's Fran? I always look for Dr. Fran, and I always look for Mercedes, and I see Dr. Hebert. I guess it would help if I put my glasses on, Tammy, huh? Let there be sight. Okay, look at your ladies. There's Regina. Oh, there's my sister. Let me make sure I get it right. Devorah Scott Black. Did I say it right? Devorah Scott Black. I miss you ladies. I see you, Dr. Fran. I see you. And who is my sister over here? It says something Usher. She's got purple on, this beautiful jewelry. That must be Marviette. Marviette. I see Marviette. Marviette, you look like you're going to walk down the red carpet, girl. Okay.
I'm just coming from another Zoom.
That's why. This is the life we live as innovative women. I see, is this Regina Strickland? Regina, if that's you, wave your hand with the tie-dye on over there in the corner. Is that Regina? Or Tracy Booker is with the tie-dye. That looks like the tie-dye that I love. I see Dr. Angie Williams. We've got PhDs with us today. We've got educators. I see Rhea. Of course, Ashley's there. We see Angela's phone. You ladies are coming in for Paulette, my boo-boo. Paulette, give me some love on the screen. And Tammy knows she's my girl. She's my girl. And so today's going to be an incredible collaboration. I was telling Tammy, I see Tamara over there, that the people that are leading the front in this time that we're living in right now, especially our new normal, is people that are collaborating together, because I just believe we're better together. So we already had what we have, a one voice talk, where we're dealing with the same type of issues, where Tammy and I share the same passion for community, for our nation, for the world, and empowering women. And so she was talking about a book launch. And of course, this is a soft book launch, and her hard book launch is going to be next week, where she has the actual hard copy here to present to you. However, we're going to have a soft book launch where you can do a pre-order. The book is going to be available hard copy by next Tuesday. And it had been in my heart from the perspective of community, because, you know, as Tammy taught the different pillars, we went over this yesterday, didn't we, Paulette? Myself, you, and Brandy, with my team, with Tammy's team, looking at an overview of the different things that Tammy wanted as her pillars, her core services, or core pillars for the Vision Book Club. And they were, help me out, ladies: community, giving back, the charity part, the extended family. Help me out, Paulette and Tammy, because I don't have my notes in front of me for that one. Extended
Relationships.
family, relationship currency. What else, Paulette? I mean, this right here covers.
Yeah, spiritual.
Your
brand.
What was that last one?
Brand, your brand.
Personal brand. I'm sorry.
Personal brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, personal brand. We have spiritual, personal.
That's it, Tammy.
And then we have the marriage piece and the single piece. And we have the parenting. Then we have
that was it. That's what I was looking for, the parenting piece, the parenting piece. So she's already done all of these different core areas, and she closed out that segment of the Vision Book Club. But the whole, I would say the purpose of the Vision Book Club is for each woman, for those of you that are maybe hopping on for the very first time, and especially our presenters, which we're going to introduce in a moment. Her vision was for after the end of the Vision Book Club, that people would manifest not only a book, but tell me if I'm saying it right, Tammy, because you've taught me so much, but they would manifest these attributes, these characteristics, these pillars in their own life, like with the community and giving back. Gloria Samuels did a phenomenal job on that. And guys, remember when we did the relationship currency and all these different pieces? So this part on educating our children and fighting for our youth, it hits parenting, it hits relationship, because we believe in that African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. In other words, in South Africa, they have a saying that says, like, you know, your child is my child, and it's all the mothers coming together. And let's face it, guys, some of the things that we're facing and seeing in our society today is a result of no fathers in the home, is a result of sometimes babies having babies. And so I thought, since my passion was this, and I call it the miseducation of the parents, well, Tammy, her book, which is promoting and expressing the Vision Book Club, which had all these different pillars that are in it. I said it really, a lot of it is comprised in the next generation and futuring and raising up the next generation and us parenting them and looking at, you know, the culture and society, the way we see it today, and say, we can't be the kind of women that just talk about this. We can't be the kind of women that just have conferences about it and sing songs about it and get on the phone, talk about it on Facebook or social media and just make posts and comments about it. It's time for us to elevate ourselves to be the level of women that actually change policies, re-legislate things, rewrite curriculum. And our goal is to reach this generation of young people and let's say to know, you can't have our children, you can't have our community, you can't have our family, you can't have our culture. Because all of this, even as we talk about, I came on when Tammy was talking about Black Lives Matter. Well, some of the things that I tell people all the time, as a people, even though we're not excluding any other ethnic group, I'm sure some of you ladies may want to chime in and agree with me. Black lives will matter to more people when Black lives matter more to us. I don't know if I can get an amen on that or not.
Yeah.
In other words, people value you more based on how you value yourself. And there's even a more powerful component with this as we talk about educating this generation, right? When you value yourself, what emanates from you is that the same value you have for yourself, you love your neighbor as yourself. Tammy even did a piece that touches this about, is it okay to love yourself? Remember that piece as well, Tammy? So here, the only way we can see a total leadership transformation is it's got to begin with where we are right now with this emerging generation and say, we're not going to sit back. Because anybody else, raise your hand if you feel this with me. Some of the values that even Tammy has in her vision book, and as in Tammy's new book that's coming out, the vision book that will you can pre-order today, is dealing with those core values. She's touching those four core values in her book. But some of these things, like, can I just do some grassroots things, lady, and then I'm going to roll over and introduce our speakers. Whatever happened to manners? Is anybody old school enough with me that young people, when you walked in a room, you're supposed to say hello, or you're still supposed to say thank you, and you're still supposed to say please? The other day, my grandson, he didn't know any better. He was tossing something to me. He'd been playing. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't ever toss anything to Yaya. You bring things to Yaya. It's a matter of honor. And guess what? Little things like that, he didn't mean anything, but that's what they see around them. And so the manners, and I know the school teachers that we have here presented today, they probably can tell us stuff that will just knock us off. So I'm not going to take too much time with that, but I want to show you and give you all a summary of what we're going to be capsulating in close to 1 hour as we can possibly get today, because we have people that are specialists in their own right. So in order for us to see some of these values that I say all the time, that even when, and I don't want to feel like we're excluding any other ethnic group of people that may be watching any other time or any other platform, but the universal values of that are biblical values, that are universal values of respect and honor. When we start respecting and honoring ourselves and honoring each other, then it places a value of us to others. Can I get a hand raised if anybody, if this makes sense to anybody? So that doesn't exclude the fact that we have a right and should be a voice where we are not being valued, but we can't let ourselves off the hook and say somebody else is not valuing us when we don't value ourselves. So having said that, that leads into this. All of this is all in keeping with Tammy's vision and her new book on vision and the Vision Club. We have someone with us that's from Chicago, who's a school teacher in Chicago. And we know that in Chicago, it's one of the leading cities with Black on Black crime. At some point, we got to stop pointing the finger at somebody else and say, what are we as mothers going to do as women of faith, women that are gatekeepers in our community, in our city, and saying, how did, like for me, those of you from Winston-Salem, I went to Skyland Elementary School. I know Skyland doesn't exist anymore. Can some of y'all just shout out to me right quick, this from Winston-Salem, the name of some of the elementary schools you went to? Come on, let's do a throwback. Let's do a throwback. Unmute them, Tammy. Tammy, what elementary school did you go to?
Oh, I went to Union Hill in Jamestown.
Okay, somebody else. Paulette, where'd you go?
14th Street School.
Come on, girl. I remember 14th Street.
Yeah.
Good teachers, man. You went straight 14th Street and Atkins was right next door.
Yeah.
Come on, Francine. But I don't know if y'all grew up in Winston. I think y'all grew up in Virginia. What high school did you go to?
Yeah, we grew up in Virginia, Scott Memorial High School.
Come on,
there was
Francine.
only one black school for from first grade to 12.
Are you serious, Francine?
Yeah, only one black school.
Oh my God.
There's a story behind that, but I know now it's not the time.
Let me ask Dr. Angie, are you from Winston? Did you go to school? Or even, it doesn't even matter if you went to school Winston or not. What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Horatio B. Hackett in the city of Philadelphia.
Come on, Philly. Marviette, where'd you go to school? Elementary.
Ashton, I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay. Tracy, I'm coming to you. What school? Connie, you're next.
I'm from Newcastle, Delaware. I went to Rose Hill Elementary School.
I got a question after I ask a couple of you all. Dr. Hebert, where did you go to school? Your elementary school, Dr. Hebert. That's one of our PhDs. We got 2 PhDs on here today.
I went to St. Francis Cabrini Elementary School.
All right. And I was getting ready. The lady that was going to come through, she hopped off. She was right over there. She is, Regina. I thought I lost you, Regina. Regina Strickland, where did you go to school? Your elementary school.
Actually, I went to Copernicus School that is in Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago. Okay. Where is Kernitha? Kernitha Jones, where are you? What elementary school did you go to, Kernitha? That's our Chicago school teacher. I don't see Kernitha. Okay, there you are. I can see you now. What school did you go to? Elementary. Make sure somebody helps her get unmuted. Let's go to Angela. Angela's iPhone. Angela, what school did you go to? Angela's iPhone.
Styles Point Elementary School.
So now let me ask a question to everybody very quickly. Rhea, you as well. Everybody, how many of you can remember your first grade school teacher and her name? Raise your hand if you remember her name. First grade, isn't that amazing? Look at that. Look at all the hands. How many remember the impression that your first grade school teacher had on you? Raise your hand if you remember.
Going down the end of the hallway and wouldn't wash up. That wouldn't get you ready. You're okay.
We have to mute somebody. We have to mute somebody. Sound like somebody may have their television on. So here's my point. The school teachers in many of our lives, especially in those days, was the first level of authority and education and honor and respect that we looked up to. And so, you know, after integration and things got different when we began to embrace other people's culture, like when I went to school, you couldn't have a hat on in school. You did Pledge of Allegiance. You respected the teacher. You had a respect for the teacher. Well, a lot of those values are lost now. And so what do? We sit back and let it just pass on to the next generation and the next generation. Well, everything about Tammy's Vision Book Club and her book is what God has given her to bring us back to those core values of parenting, family, extended families, relationship currency, all those different things that she's covered over the time that we've come together. So we're going to now go on and introduce our panelists who are going to talk to us about what's happening to our children. The miseducation is, I started to call it the miseducation of the children, but as I talked to Tammy, I said, we need to talk about the miseducation of the parents, especially after I talked to Dr. Hebert and talked to Kernitha Jones and some of our other, we have Brittany Rush, who's going to be presenting to us later on. And then Dr. Williams, you're one of our educators as well. And there may be other educators that are on here. I want to make sure I don't miss you, but a lot of times, and maybe I'm going to let them speak, we see most often, a lot of times it's the parents that are miseducated. There are so many things that are happening to our children that we don't know, which is yielding. It will yield if we don't go in here and shift policies and reform curriculum and say that it's not the responsibility of the state to educate our children and our children's children. It's not the responsibility of a political party to govern or to gatekeep our communities. I'm gonna say this right quick and hop off. I just gotta give this. My mother lived in Happy Hill. My grandmother and mother lived in Happy Hill Gardens. And so for a while, as grandchildren, we go over Grandmama Lily's house. We went to 1315 Free Street in Happy Hill Gardens. And there was a lady who lived across the street named, and we called her Francine, Dr. Fran. We called her Miss Mary, not Miss Mary. She was called Miss Mary. And Miss Mary Paulette sat on the front porch. She was an old lady with gray hair, with long, thick hair, plastic, thick gray hair. And Tammy, she literally was the mother of the neighborhood, in that if your parents, those parents that were working and their parents hadn't come home from work yet and kids came home from school, Francine and Paulette, you can attest to that, Marviette, I know you as well. You didn't even really have to have a babysitter. If you lived anywhere near the proximity of Miss Mary watched everybody's house. She was a real watchman. And how many people, raise your hand if you remember this, if Miss Mary reported to your parents, Tracy, that you did something you had no business doing, Regina, and your parents got home and you called Miss Mary a lie, Dr. Aber, what happened? And Cheryl, what happened if you told your parents Miss Mary lying? What would happen to you? Look at Paulette. Look at Paulette. Look at Fran. Look at Fran. Look at Cheryl. Look at Cheryl. What would happen, Tammy? You got
Yes.
2 spankings.
Yes.
You got a spanking for what you did, and you got another spanking because you did what? Because you did what, ladies? You called Miss Mary a liar. You dishonored her. Well, nowadays, kids come home every day and say, that teacher ain't telling the truth. That teacher lying on me. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And the parents side with the students. So I'm saying all that to say, to give us the backdrop. You can see why God put it in Tammy's heart to have the Vision Book Club, and why God put it in Tammy's heart to launch this book that's promoting these values in Tammy's book, that we must embrace these values. We must return to these values, and we've got to make sure that these universal values are being upheld in the Constitution of our house. Simply put, as for me and my house. How many of y'all know the other side of that? We shall. We're going to serve the Lord. So let's bring on our panelists, and we want to thank Tammy for her. In a moment, we're going to show up after we introduce our panelists. We're going to show Tammy's new book. We're going to give a drum roll, and you wait till you see the cover of this new book. And then, because of the collaboration of what Tammy and I are doing together, I said I'm going to add to what Tammy already has. We're going to collaborate together and offer something very special for the ladies today. That's for Tammy's Vision Book Club only. All of those that are watching today, they're going to get a special code and a place they go to for Tammy's Vision Book Club concerning her book, and another special surprise we have for you. But without any further ado, let's introduce coming out of the gate, Kernitha. I don't know if we had time to get you unmuted yet. Give me a thumbs up if you're unmuted. Kernitha, can we hear you? Our teacher in Chicago. We still can't hear you. Can you say something? Okay, what I'm going to do is, can you hear me, Kernitha? Okay, let's do this. Let me get Ashton, call Brandy, and you and Brandy together to get Kernitha. Do whatever you need to do to call her directly and get her unmuted. We see you, Kernitha, but we can't hear you, okay? So that means they're going to talk to you about how to unmute. Meanwhile, let's roll over to Dr. Aber. Dr. Aber, where are you? Are you unmuted? Wherever you are?
Yes, I'm unmuted. Can you
Okay,
hear
there
me?
we go. Dr. Aber, our PhD, she's coming to us from the Louisiana area, the suburb area of New Orleans. And Kernitha Jones, the teacher that's from Chicago. She's coming to us from Chicago when they get her unmuted. And Dr. Williams, I saw you up there somewhere. There you go. We have you as well. And then we're going to have, at the end of the broadcast of Tammy's book club, we're going to have Brittany Rush, who God is using her. She's a principal. Dr. Aber is a principal. God is using her to rewrite curriculum, to say, you know, our children don't have to be taught what they're teaching our children. So I'm going to roll over to Dr. Aber, and whenever Kernitha gets, we get sound from her. Kernitha, all we're going to be waiting from is a thumbs up from you, okay? So we can roll on to everybody else. So if we don't have sound from Kernitha yet, we'll go to Williams and just wait for Kernitha to get sound. So Kernitha, if you look at your phone, Ashton or Brandy should be giving you a call to make sure that we get everything unmuted for you, because we want to hear what you've got to say. So Dr. Aber, let's come out of the gate. What is it that we need to know as grandparents, parents? And one of the things Tammy had was parenting, and she had extended family, and she had community. And I know all these things that you're sharing is going to end up dovetailing and speaking to those very same topic areas that Tammy has in her book. So what is it that you would want, that we need to know as parents and grandparents concerning how our children are being educated? You know, what is it that we don't know that we need to know?
Well, I have basically 3 things that I think are the most important things that I think a parent needs to, grandparent need to focus on. The first one is communication. The second one is partnership. And the third one is to have some type of goals for your child. So in terms of communication, I mean, as a school leader, the first thing that comes to mind for me is that I want parents to just be honest about where their children are, academically or socially when they come to school. Because I know everybody wants, you know, to believe the best about our kids, and that's great, but our kids do have some shortcomings. And so the more, you know, if you're honest with the school leader and with the teacher about, you know, whatever issues your child may have, you can work together and partner to do what's best for your kid. So that's one of the main things. And you expect the same thing from the teachers as well. And I say communication is important because a lot of times we have issues in certain schools contacting parents. And so a lot of us as I guess adults, sometimes we have some issues or some hindrances about wanting to communicate with teachers and with educators because we feel a little bit intimidated. So rather than run from that, we need to run towards that and initiate the communication with your child's teacher and be consistent. I know a lot of times everybody's working, we're busy, but you can email. That's one of the best ways to communicate with your child's teacher. And it's real important that you be consistent with that, because one thing that I think sometimes educators, and I mean, my school is, I guess, more or less like inner city, but one of the assumptions that's made is that parents are unconcerned or that they don't care about their kids. And we all know that they really do. And a lot of times they can't communicate because they're working, they have other issues going on, but that's an important piece, so that you as a parent come in from the beginning saying that, hey, I'm concerned about my child and I want what's best for them. You're the educator and you have the experience. I need for you to help me with my kid. And this goes both ways. Even if you have a child that's gifted and talented, you want everything that you can possibly get, the best of everything that the education system can afford for your child. So it's not just if your child has a shortcoming, but you also want to be an advocate for your child for any type of resources that are available, violin, cello, all of these type of resources. But you as a parent, a lot of times you have to advocate and be in front of that and say, hey, I want this for my kid because I know it's available. So having that communication is important. Knowing your child's academic level, what can I do to help to enhance that? Volunteering. A lot of times you may not have time to go into school, but you can ask the teacher, hey, can you send something home that I can help you with? Do you need me to cut out anything? All things like that help to establish relationships with the teacher. And that's very important, that you have a relationship with that teacher. Because if I know that this child's mom is going to support me as a teacher, that speaks volumes. And I'm going to give extra attention to that child because I know I can get in touch with somebody and we have that communication going. The goals, growing academically and socially, all of that is important. You don't just want your child just to have a good academic experience. You also want them to have a good social experience at school as well. And as I said, you want to expound on the gifts and talents that your child may have as well. And, you know, tap into the community resources, and then find out if there are any mentoring programs, you know, that can help with your kids. Because some of us are single parents, and we need that extra support as well. And also, are there any other parenting groups available? Or can you start a parenting group at your child's school? That would help as well. So those are just 3 things that I think that are really important, and they go a long way with establishing the relationship with the teacher. And then some of us do have kids that are challenges. And, you know, if your child knows that you're partnering with that teacher, then it may not be apt to come home and try to tell you something that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so and
just like they do with parents, how they try to play each other against each other. Yeah, same way we
exactly.
do with parents. Mm-hmm.
Because they're little manipulators, you know, they're going to try to get away with what they can while they're at school. So that's real important. So that's the 3 areas for me: communication, partnership, and having an established goal for your child, you know, and expounding on those talents. There's 2 other areas that I wanted to go into as well. And those are, for example, individual education plans, which are IEPs, and 504 plans. And I'm sure, I don't know if everybody is familiar with special education, but gifted and talented is also under the spectrum of special education. So, and I know special ed people have the connotation that it's all bad, but all of that's under that same spectrum. So you could have a student who may have some challenges in one area, but they may be gifted in another area. So, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes the testing for students is really important. So there's some differences between special education in the IEP plan and a 504 plan. And I just wanted to clear this up because I know we have large numbers of African-American students that are in special education. And if kids are having challenges, it's not always the only option for it to be a special education situation. Now, an IEP is an individual plan for a child who has an identified disability under the law. And the child receives special instruction, meaning a special education teacher or a teacher's aide to assist and help the child to learn. But students can also qualify for a 504 plan. And a 504 plan is very similar. It's basically under the same law. And a child has to have a disability, but they are not classified as learning disabled or having a behavior disorder. But the child can still receive some accommodations and some modifications. So there's a big difference there. And I think the go-to is to evaluate and run them through special education. And that's not always the case. So for example, if you have a child, if you know, and you know your kid has ADD or ADHD. So that doesn't necessarily mean that your child needs to go through special education and have a 504 and have a special ed diagnosis. They could actually, if they have a medical diagnosis from a doctor of ADD or ADHD, your child could go under 504, a 504 plan for 504 services, which means they could get extended time, they could get special seating, they could get a multiplication chart, anything that they need to learn, they can get that under the 504 plan and not have to have an evaluation through the education system and also have a label of special education. So
That's amazing right there, that I guarantee you that, so some of you ladies that maybe never heard of that, can you imagine how many of our children and maybe other persuasions might have known about this, that their kids can get the extra help that they need without having a label to track them for the rest of their educational career and path, when it allows them the little extra support that they need, and it's just categorized in another, it's in under the same spectrum as you say it, but falls in a slightly different category. So guys, ladies, please write that down and remember that to share, because today, of course, you know, we have a lot of grandmothers that are raising their grandchildren as mothers. And we have a lot of grandmothers nowadays that because you know, with the pandemic and everything, maybe the mother is out in the workforce and the grandchildren, our grandchildren are at home with the grandparent homeschooling. So I think it's very important for mothers and for grandmothers to know that if you're aunties, if you don't have children, and that classification is called what, 504, did you say?
yes, it's 504 services.
Okay.
And it is beneficial because, say for example, and we use it, I've used it a lot for some students. So for example, suppose your child has standardized testing coming up and suppose they break their arm. Okay, well they can't write. So they would go under a 504 plan and get a scribe to take their test, or either have someone read the test to them. So this is what, you know, what can be used in addition, you know, to not having to go to special education route. And I'm gonna do a quick comparison because I'm almost done. I don't want to take too long, but we already said that one has a classification, the other one doesn't. But remember, with 504 services, you have to have a medical diagnosis. So you can just bring your paperwork from the doctor, you know, saying, hey, my child is on medication for ADD, ADHD, my child has a broken arm, broken foot, whatever. They can get the accommodations, and the 504 plan, they can get that plan for as long as they need it. So, you know, if they, you know, the arm heals, hand heals, they don't need the services, then you can terminate the plan. The other thing about the 504 plan is that it carries over to college. So say, you know, your child needs these accommodations, they can have those same accommodations to take the ACT test or the SAT test. And a lot of folks use this, a lot.
You hear exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
I think the rest of you ladies hear exactly what she's saying, don't you?
Yes. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention about special education, okay, you know, it's IEP is an individual education plan for those of you who don't know. And typically with that, that's under special ed. The child, the teacher sets a goal for the child, and the plan is revisited every year. And I just want parents, if you do have a child who's under 504, make sure you're looking at those goals and make sure that your child is attaining those goals, because they're supposed to be giving them accommodations, modifications. Your child still should be growing academically from year to year. There shouldn't be 2 grade levels behind, and then at the end of the year, there's still 2 grade levels behind. The goal of special education is to bridge the gap. And you also, when you go into that IEP, especially if the child you just got an evaluation and they're holding the first IEP, ask the question, what is the exit plan? Special education is not supposed to be a life sentence, so to speak. There should be an exit plan. It should be, okay, this is to bridge the gap. How long are we bridging the gap? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? I want my child out of special ed. And so, you know, I think we kind of give up sometimes as parents because it's so overwhelming. But the responsibility of the teachers and the educators are to bridge that gap. Is giving them special services. So whatever they need to catch up, they're supposed to be getting it in special education. That's what it's for. There shouldn't be regressing. So, and that's what I mean, really be an advocate and partner with those teachers and say, hey, this is what you're doing. What can I do at home to help?
Amen.
You know, but you got to speak up and be an advocate for your child, because if they figure you're not interested, your kid is just a number and they just gonna pass them on, and it is what it is. So the other thing, the IEP is updated annually, and I wanted to stress that kids can exit out of special education, and so that's real important for parents to know. So anybody have any questions? Because you don't see me because I am at the hairdresser. Y'all don't want to see me right now, but I'll be happy to answer questions.
All of us sisters feel you. All of us sisters know what it's like to be getting your hair done, but yeah, we don't want to miss you're getting your hair done, didn't interfere with the information that you gave us. So let me just say this and leave the door open, Tammy, for your ladies. I never knew that there could be an exit plan for those who had children that had a developmental need in the area of special ed, that this doesn't have to follow with them for the rest of their life. Is this news to anyone else? And this is definitely good information as the parent. This definitely lines up with the miseducation of the parent. There may be parents that don't know that there should be and there can be an exit plan for your grandchild, your great-grand, your niece, your nephew, or your child that is needing and requiring a little special help in the area of special ed. Anyone with any questions while we have Dr. Hebert before she drops off? Any questions? Okay, Dr. Hebert, thank you so very much. I think Cornetha now has volume. Cornetha, are you there? Dr. Hebert, thank you so much. Thank you. And Tammy, help me thank her for coming on to your Vision Book Club and us collaborating together with the One Voice and Tammy's Vision Book Club, just all endeavoring to empower the community, give back, and just help people have a step up to the next level in every arena of their life. Tammy, help me thank Dr. Hebert.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to get my book.
Well, thank you so much.
There you go. Tammy, can you tell us before we go to Cornetha, what did God put in your heart when you wrote your book and when you started the Vision Book Club, as far as the community piece and the parenting piece and the giving back piece and all these different things that speak to what we're addressing now with our children, our society, our culture, our family? You even did extended family. What was it that was put in your heart that pointed you in this, that navigated you in this direction concerning your book and the Vision Club? We want to hear from the visionary herself.
Yes. Well, you know, one of the things that, you know, putting the vision book together, which the name of it is called The Vision Within. One of the things about that is that God allowed me to work through each of these 12 components that is in my book in my particular life over the last 12 years. Isn't that something? 12 components he gave me, and it's been 12 years. I just got that. So,
and did you know that 12 is the number of government, order, unity, governance, like coming together, unity, order. That's what the number 12 is. to
Wow,
establish something.
yes.
Mhm, mhm.
Yes. So, you know, he gave it to me back in 2018 is when he showed me about a book. So actually I did a vision board. And so when I did my vision board, I actually had the vision board and I started putting different components in my life working on it. And so it was 2019 when I was going in and I put on my vision board, play to win. And things started manifesting, happened when I started writing, you know, going through and started dealing with the spiritual part, getting to know God, getting close to him, reading the Bible from cover to cover. I started doing things and then my life began to start changing. And so then I started working on all those other areas in my life and I seen things starting to happen to me. And so, but the biggest thing is that when I started with this vision board that I had, it was one of those big boards that I was carrying around. And, you know, I travel all the time. But every time I would go from Winston-Salem to Atlanta, because that's where I was living and back and forth, I would always carry that big board with me. And my husband would be like, why are you carrying the board? And then when I would travel out of town, because what I wanted to do is to keep my vision before me.
In front of you.
So God showed me in the vision that what this book would do is this book is a transformation power of vision. It calls you to go within on the side of you to pull out who you are, the authentic part of who you are, the purpose of who you are. And so when he gave it to me from the board to the book, that everybody can benefit from this because it goes from concept to manifestation. It helped them to stay focused. It helped them to be disciplined.
The thing that's so beautiful, Carnita's coming on now. We've got her. Everybody, let's give Carnita a hand. She has audio now. And this is a woman, when I tell you, Tammy, the epitome of what your book depicts, she carries a vision. And not just a vision, Tammy, but a burden, Carnita does, for the inner city at-risk youth, the inner city, seeing the things that have been happening in the inner city, living there in Chicago, what's happening to our children. And she's been one of those women that's been a prophetic voice that has cried aloud and spared not. She's one of our morning prayer intercessors. That's a gatekeeper and saying, and I invited her to come on because this is coming from the true heart of a mother and a woman that is right in the trenches. And so everything that you're talking about to speak is, she knows, she comes out of Pastor Bill Winston's church. So she knows the power of seeing it, saying it, believing it, and doing it. And she represents the doing it part because she's in the trenches, ladies, that are watching right there in Chicago with gunshots and seeing all kind of things that's going on in the classroom. Carnita, I know we lost a lot of your time trying to get you connected, but we want to go straight to the point. Give us maybe 2 or 3 bullet points of some of the things that you're seeing and some of the things that we can begin to do in the area of not just praying, but things that we can do. We know that Dr. Shanae told us that Dr. A. Berkin told us things that we need to communicate. We need to have an exit plan. We need to have goals set. We need to make sure that the teacher understands that the parent is there and the parent cares. And that sometimes it's hard to even reach the parent. And we know you're coming from a whole different spectrum in some ways than what she's looking at in New Orleans, probably in the Louisiana area. What are maybe 3 of the challenges that you would say to us women that is what we need to know about what's happening to our children?
Well, basically, hello, everyone. Our children are not being educated. I guess that's the major problem right here. And we have to get to the root and the foundation to find out why they are not being educated and who is responsible. I'm tutoring right now around the corner from my house in the inner city. I had a little 6-year-old, he didn't know his alphabets. It stunned me. My 2-year-old grandson knows his. My 5-year-old can read. All you have to do is put them in front of a DVD. You don't have to do anything else, just sit them in front of there. The kids will pick it up. I'm dealing with a 4th grader. The 4th grader's he's in junior high. The boy cannot read. So I'm trying to get a DVD player and work with him. When I taught school in another school loaded with my Black boys, the boy comes up to me. He cannot read in 4th grade. I told him to write his alphabets from A to Z. He thought W was 2 letters. I looked at his records. His records show that he's been in preschool. Somebody got paid in preschool, 3 years old, 4 years old, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and he's in my class. Nobody taught you to read, and we keep putting it on the blaming the victim, my students. There's nothing wrong with our students. It has been statistically proven that Black children do far better than any other kids when they're born. But when we put them in these school systems, charter school, public school, they are failing. I mean, it's kind of like it's retarding them. I'm looking at some of the kids, and it even today, as I'm tutoring, I'm like, oh my God, this is too much. And we have to, number one, identify. I go to Isaiah 58. God said, is this not, cry loud and spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet. Is this not the fast that I call? Undo the bonds of injustice. We're talking hardcore, call a spade. It's gross injustice. These kids are trapped in these school systems, these charter school systems in the community. If they tried to cross the street in a suburban school, they would take them to jail. They would make the parents pay $13,000 only for wanting an education. They're systemically locked in some of the worst school systems, never to get out. And the teachers union, I looked at, I think they spent maybe over $100 million to block the voucher system. For what? For one reason, they want to keep our kids in there because they call the kids a placemat. In other words, our kids are here to serve them. So we're going to have to get to the root of this. In the school to prison pipeline, the kids do not have counselors in the school, but yet they have officers. A lot of teachers do not want to refer their students for behavior problems because they know they're getting a criminal record. We have something called the gang database. Once they put your name on there, the police department have your name. If they stop you, they can do anything to you. They have kids 11 years old that they're going in these schools, building up the school to prison pipeline. Listen to me. It is so bad. You've got these kids who cannot, they're giving them maybe approximately 10 tests a year. But how are you testing them on stuff that you have never taught them? So I'm seeing this. Me as a teacher, I went to a school. All the books were in the locker. I go to charter schools. They have no books. They put in all Black areas, they put 90% young white kids in there who don't have training in those areas in several cases. In there with these Black kids with no books. That's like throwing a goldfish into a piranha tank. The kid, to be a quality teacher, you must come in armed and prepared. You can't just come in.
Pranita, let's slow down a bit. I want to make sure that everybody understands what you're saying. You're saying they're in Chicago. You're seeing things like where they're bringing teachers in with not books. Books are in a locker, and kids are being expected to learn, and they don't have the necessary tools and everything that they need to learn. And one other thing I want to digress back to as well. I think I heard you say, so that we're not going too fast, everybody grab this, Paulette, everybody grab this, Cheryl. They have what they call a gang list that kids are being, that's stereotyping, and that's pushing a kid and like labeling and putting like prophesying a path for him. Everything about Tammy's Vision Book Club is what you're saying in Isaiah. Cry aloud, spare not. We can proclaim, we can declare, we can prophesy, we can speak, we can make prophetic declarations, especially in this year 2020, the year of the open mouth. We must, as women, those of us, especially for our kids, maybe that we're in these kind of societies or systems or areas or neighborhoods that Carnita's talking about. I feel like every woman whose child got out, I mean, my son went to private school, but I feel like I have a responsibility to what Tammy has in her book, give back to the community. And that's why we wanted to bring this together and say, let's dialogue about the miseducation of the parents. Like, so there's two things I've learned already, Tammy, on your Vision Book Club, with us collaborating together with one voice. I didn't know that there was an exit plan out. I didn't know that they have something called a gang list. I never knew that. So you're seeing these type of things, Carnita. What can a parent do?
I'm a member of the NAACP West Side in Chicago. I'm on the education committee. We're on the different committees, and there's a committee that has that. And they said they have kids as young as 11 years old on these lists. They have people on there, and the majority of them, probably 90%, are Black men. So if they're on there, you're on there. I mean, they stop you, they could take you in. We've noticed that you're a gang member. We've got little kids on there. It's really serious right now.
11 years old. Some of them as young as 11 years old.
And also they are suspending our children in kindergarten. See, in order to work with a child, we took the most valuable thing in our lives and let racism, discrimination, injustice pipeline the Black teachers out, pipeline other races, white kids in. I'm talking about, I'm in schools where charter schools, no books. And I'm like, but where are the books? Oh, you don't need any. So these people are in these classrooms. I've subbed. I've been in about 5 different school systems. I subbed. I go in there. I said, well, where's the books? Where's the lesson plan? We don't have any. I said, but how many kindergarten teachers they have? We have 5. I said, that's easy. You're all doing the same thing. They said, no, we're all doing different things. I said, what? And then I go in a 4th grade class. The teacher's giving them 3rd grade work. Then I go into a classroom. In one school, they have the whole school listening to worldly music. I'm like, I don't let my kids listen to this at home. And then I go to the principal, who is not African American. I said, why are you letting these kids listen to this demon music? And she said, it's because I think it calms their soul. What they're doing to our kids, they are experimenting with our kids. Every foster school system, every teacher in every class, completely different. When I went to the charter school system, 0 books. I couldn't believe it. And they're doing this to young kids coming out of college in a group with kids of a different race. It's been proven that Black kids do far better with Black teachers, especially Black male teachers, not just Black kids, all kids do better, but they're pulling that population out. But I went to another school and they had all the books in the closet. And I'm like, why are the books in the coat room? They were transferring to Common Core. They said, because they didn't even answer me. So what I did, this is the truth. I had to sneak teach. I snuck, closed my door and pulled the books out and began to teach them. I had to sneak and tell my kids, come to the board. Now they said they were teaching the new math, but nobody was there to train anybody. And the teacher who did come to train, she said she did not know what she was doing. So I'm sneaking in there thinking I'm getting in trouble, pull out the language arts. I'm sneaking, teaching them cursive. I'm talking about, it's systemic. They're getting their directions from the top head, telling them to not educate the kid. The principals have to obey someone. I think Jeb Bush is the CEO over Common Core. Our kids are cash cows. They're using our kids for money.
Carnitha, let me just say this, and let me say this to everyone else. My son is an educator. He's a school teacher, and he works in the same kind of area that you're talking. He's done this for years, like in Watts, and one of the worst school systems and one of the most notorious schools in all of LA. I mean, the stuff that Kareem would see on a daily basis would just be a movie, like something that's a script for a movie in some kind of South Central, whatever. And I would be like, oh my God. I mean, I had to pray for my son's safety, but he was just telling me like what these kids face every day. But one of the things that stood out to me is how kids just keep getting, and did you ladies hear that? Tammy, did you hear this? Dr. Fran, are you there? Did you hear this? That this child is in the 4th grade and keeps getting promoted. And I asked my son, back in the days we grew up, Cheryl, you got retained if you didn't get it. And they're saying they can't do that. It's like an assembly line. If you retain them, it's gonna mess up the system. I thought, so if a child knows that they can't get retained, Dr. Fran, and they're just gonna keep getting moving forward, Dorothy and Tamara, keep getting moving forward, Dorothy and Rhea and Dr. Michelle Johnson, keep moving forward. What incentive, how does it incentivize them, Pam Phillips, to even have to or even want to learn when they know they're just going to, and it, to me, it sends a subliminal message, Carnita, almost like nobody cares if they don't really care about me. That's, as a child, I can see our child can really feel that, like you don't really even care about them. And then to be labeled as young as 11 years old on a gang list, to be like stereotyped in that area, to put a mark on you, that, you know, next thing you know, you're like on a fast track towards the penitentiary, and then the penitentiaries are privatized. So it's this whole systematic, it's a system where our kids are the victims. And let me just drop this right now for all of you ladies, and we'll dash back over to Carnita very shortly. I hate we missed up so much of our time because we got to go to Dr. Williams. You can see now, Tammy, why God gave you this vision book and this vision club, because we have to have a vision for our children, for our, am I right, Tammy? For our family, for our community, for our city, for our state, for our society. Guys, look what's happening in our nation right now. There's so much racial divide and so much lawlessness. In the middle of the night, I was spending time alone with God and woke up and I heard two things: racial equality and moral uprightness. The marrying between racial equality and moral uprightness. It's like the whole divide between two political parties. You know, one, the push is racial equality, and it's absolutely a must. And then the other side is we don't want to compromise the moral uprightness. So we as believers find ourselves in a very uncomfortable position to be in. So, but anyway, we cannot depend on a political party. I think that's what Tammy is telling us in the book. You better have a vision. You better know how to speak it, say it, believe it, have a vision, have a visionary in front of you, not just for your own immediate family, but what about having a vision for the community? And for, as we talked about, Miss Mary, who was the watchman, not just for her children, Dr. Fran, but for the community. We're going to come back over to Carnita, but Dr. Angie Williams, I want you to speak on a little bit. I was about to drop this. Let me just share this. So the Secretary of Education, and I have any of you all that are interested in getting this documentary video that I will reveal to you, where you actually see the pages in the book itself, comprehensive sex education, that is passed down from WHO and UNESCO with the UN, of what they are teaching our children and what they want to teach our children worldwide. It is unbelievable under the banner of comprehensive sex education to preschoolers and kindergartners. The graphic pictures in the book from things like, I don't even want to say the different types of perversion with sex, different part. I mean, it's just anal, oral to kindergartners, and they have the depicted pictures, and they want this to be the comprehensive sex education worldwide. They're pushing this throughout Africa. They're pushing it throughout Europe. It's already been pushed throughout Europe. It's been pushed throughout Africa, throughout Asia, and many of our different states. I mean, you should see the book. And this is coming from the Secretary of Education herself. This is already in Houston. It is already in the books. I saw somebody on here said they were from Houston. Houston, Texas was one of the first states in some of the different pocketed areas to embrace to be put in the curriculum or in the book for children, little kids to masturbate in the classroom. Legal. In the state of California, they call a teacher here in the state of California teaching pederasty, pedophilia as a normal sexual orientation, that it's okay, that pedophilia is okay. So as Tammy is talking about her vision book and the vision book club, and I'm saying the miseducation of the parents, when is enough going to be enough? When we rise up, like Carnita said, to cry out aloud and to spare not. And as Dr. Shanae showed us as responsible parents, things that we can do by way of communication, having a plan and saying, you can't label my child and leave them here. I have an exit plan for my child, and going before God and saying, God, you have a vision for my child, and the responsibility for my child and for the children for this community does not rest into the hands of a political party. But if you go back, ladies, and you think about it, in the beginning, the church took the responsibility of education. The mother took the responsibility of education of what went on in that household. Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, it says that when they rise up, it told the mothers in the Bible, when they rise up, Put it on the doorpost. Put it when you go in. Put it like when they wake up, when they go to bed. Keep it in front of them, because visualization brings manifestation. It was saying, keep these morals, keep these statutes, keep these constitutional values in front of your children. He told the mothers to do it. He didn't tell the political party to do it. He told the mothers to do that when they rise up and when they lie down. Dr. Angie, what can you say to us concerning what's happening to our children? And Carnitha, we're coming back to you, dear.
Well, good evening, everyone. So much has been said this evening, and I will just offer this, that we are all on the same team. So I've been in education for more than 20 years, and I started as a young professional. I think I probably wanted to save the world, and then I realized if I can just help one child, I would have done my part. And so as we talk about whether it's the miseducated parent or the unfortunate child, it's important to us for us to understand that we must do our part and that we're on the same team. So my approach, with like many of the educators I'm blessed to be surrounded by, is that we affirm and we connect. We affirm and we connect. So we affirm who our scholars are, and we tell their parents, this is what we believe. We believe in our scholars wholeheartedly. We help them believe if sometimes they have had a not so happy experience, because we want to acknowledge that. And then we also provide opportunities to connect with parents. So parenting is not an easy job, just like educating isn't, yet it's the only profession that teaches everyone, right? And so I can tell you as a parent that I have always, my husband and I have always taken the liberty to advocate for our own children and for that of others that perhaps don't have their own voice. And that is important. It's important now more than ever before. So I'm going to give a shameless plug for school choice, because parents that are watching, that are listening, that may see the replay, you have a choice. You have a choice where your scholar is educated. You have a choice in what they are educated with and who they are educated with. And so you have to take authority and stand on that. So my family transferred from the West Coast in Arizona about 3 years ago. And I will tell you, I looked for a school first, and I looked for the school that was preceded by its reputation. I wanted my scholars, I'm raising 2 young men. And so I wanted them to be in a place where they would be affirmed for who they are, right? They would not have to be silenced or shrink because of who they are and what they have come to achieve. And so I looked for a school that was going to do all of those things, because they had been in private school, they had been in the best school district, all of those elements, but there were some pieces that were missing that culturally I wanted them to understand who they are and what they could achieve. And so I found this school. I say school choice because I'm going to plug my son's school. It's the College Preparatory Leadership Academy. And I believe it's one of the best schools in the state of North Carolina. And I can say that because I have spent a lot of time as an educator in a lot of different states. I could tell you war stories, but I can also tell you that as a teacher, I did the home visits. I was the crazy 21-year-old that said, let me go visit my children's home so I can better understand how to educate them in the classroom, because I want them to sit down and get the lesson, but they may be hungry, right? They may be being raised by their great-great-grandmother that's only doing the best she knows how with what she has. And so I say all that to say that you have a choice, parents. This virtual environment, this pandemic has thrust us all into a place where we can either choose to come out of this better, right? Or we can remain where we are with what we had prior to all of this being disrupted. And so I have looked at, as an educator, in the school that I am situated in, I've already plugged it, but school choice. I've looked at it as an opportunity for us to deconstruct what has been institutionalized, right? Where our students they are oppressed. They go into these places where the teachers don't believe in them. And we have an opportunity to affirm who our students are, our scholars are, our children are, who they are in our community, what they will become. And we have an opportunity to connect with their parents or their families, because let's be real clear, a tribe is raising most of our children now. right? It's not just mama and daddy, it's grandma, it's auntie, it's the cousin who stepped up, it's the neighbor who saw the need and filled it. It's the pastor who took those children, and all of those things. We have an opportunity to affirm who our scholars are and what they can be, speaking into who they are, right? And connecting with their parents and leading the way in that vein. So I say, I want us to do our part, right? I can remember being at what I believe was the height of my career as an educator. And I sat in a room at a conference where minority leaders in education were being celebrated. And the speaker said, if you succeed and your community fails, you are a failure.
Woo!
I sat in that chair. I didn't know I would be transitioning to the High Point, North Carolina area. I didn't know I would leave higher education, come back to my first love in K-12. I didn't know it was being disrupted right there because someone was speaking and saying, so you did it. That's great. You've achieved all these wonderful things. And if your community fails, Dr. Angie, because I felt like he was talking directly to me, you are a failure. So from that moment on, I committed to doing my part. I got to do it, however little, however small it is, I have to do my part. So I want you all to know that whether you're listening, whether you're figuring out what do I need to do, what parent do I need to educate, how can I do it, when can I do it, the time is now. You can do it, right? You can disrupt the systems that were meant to oppress us. You can make a decision to put your scholars, to put your nieces and your nephews in a wealthy place where they will have books, right? Where teachers are speaking into their future. All of those things. And I'll tell you, I'll leave with this. About a year ago, we tend to, I've always been, I think I probably was just meant to educate, even though I first said, I kind of fell into education. I had to stop saying that because I don't think I really fell into it. I think it was meant for me, right? I just, that's what I do. That's who I am. And even in my own congregation, I found that some of my youth were struggling, right? Now here I'm a person, I'm somewhat learned, and the people in my own congregation are struggling. How can that be? Right? And my husband had this crazy idea. Well, what if we did like a study hall? Like, let's do it, right? We have all these tutoring centers, the for-profits, all whatever that. And I'm like, well, we have all this. Let's get the students here, and let's maybe give them a snack or two, and let's help them with the homework, right? And so I say, we did our little part. Now, of course, COVID happened, and then we had to get creative and figure out new ways to help children. But we saw a need and we filled it, because it was like, how can we say, right, we love the people that we see, right? The children that we have influence over, we have an opportunity to impact, yet they're in our own congregation and we haven't found a way to help them. So I became not only their first lady, I said, well, I'm gonna be your first grade teacher. I'm gonna be your pre-K. I'm gonna reinforce what your teacher is doing at school. I'm gonna take about an hour and I'm gonna reinforce it in our church. And so I want us to do our part. And I commission, I empower, I beg you, let's do our part. Let's affirm our scholars for who they are, our students, our nieces, our nephews, our community. Let's connect with their parents. They sometimes may be doing the best they can with what they have. And then let's make a commitment to do our part.
Wow.
I can stand up and give you and Dr. Kanitha and Dr. Shanae a standing ovation, because that quote that you said, that person said, if you are success and your community fails, I will never forget that. I will never forget that. Because I believe that everything about what you're saying, it depicts what Tammy had in her heart. And we got to go back and care about our community, about our extended family, about just all these different components that make up the culture and the society where we are. We're looking at things that we don't like, but the way to change it is everybody doing their part. We talked about, Dr. Williams, how the church, you all remember this, especially a lot of the mainline traditional Baptist church, Methodist, but they took the responsibility of education. And let's even go further back. during the days of segregation, when we didn't have integration, and a lot of times in schools, it was the churches that took the responsibility to make sure that people got a chance to go to college, got a chance to go to school. I remember I came out of a household where my aunt was a historian and an educator, a librarian, and they took us to Marion McLeod Bethune. They wanted us to go and see where her school was. And that's something that, you know, Winston-Salem has always been like a teacher's town, an education town, a college town. And so that was instilled in me. And I'm wondering, like the same way my aunt, she didn't have children, but she took it responsibility to make sure her nieces and her nephew had that exposure. And that's what it sounds like to me, Tammy, that Dr. Angie is saying. We all have to do our part. It doesn't matter that our children got out of the system, they made it out, they went to school, whether they went to a private school or they had a higher quality of education. We have an obligational duty. And that's all what Tammy has in her book of giving back, because I believe that what we make happen for others, God will make happen for you. This is the perfect place to segue into Tammy's book, and also what we have done. For those of you that were here from the time I joined with Tammy with the Vision Book Club, they asked me the success of, you know, how my books became bestsellers and stuff like that. And I shared that God gave me the vision, Dr. Angie, to connect my product, meaning my book, with a project. And Ashton, if you can put the Haiti kids up there. Let's show this video. This is Tammy saying at the end of the book club, she said she wanted there to be a local community venture that she does, and she's doing it locally in Winston-Salem with people that are helping, coming together with this venture that she's doing with Belize. Local people bring in, I think, they bring in toiletries and things like that. But because we're talking about education, and because we believe that this is a sustainable arm of development, is education. Because you can give a person a fish, but when you teach them how to fish, when you educate them, what you teach them so outlives you. I just want to say this very quickly, Tammy. When my son, you know, he went to Hampton University, he came out of Forsyth Country Day, went for Forsyth Country Day, we moved to Atlanta, he went to Westminster. I paid all this money for him to go to these private schools with all, you know, wanting him to have the best education, Dr. Angie. And then when he got ready to go to Hampton, and I was like, you know, so, you know, what career path do you want to take? Because early he was talking about stuff like a marine biologist, you know, because I had him in the school with all these white kids, what black marine biologist, what you gonna do with that when you graduate? But when he got ready to go to Hampton, he said, Mom, he pursued education. And I was like, a school teacher, Kareem, they don't make no money. And then I'm like, I done paid, you went to the most expensive private college. And I was like, if you were gonna be an elementary school teacher, you could have went to, and I made sure you didn't have no student loan, and I was paying the way all the way through so you could come out without no loan anyway. And woo, did he check me. He was like, well, you the one that taught me the values of giving back to the community and what you make happen for others. And then his aunt was an educator. And I guess he's looking at like, how do we become who we are? They gave back. And so his value system, I had taught him this value system, Dr. Angie. I had taught him this value system, Dr. Kernitha. I had taught him this value system, Dr. Shanette, that it's not about the monetary. It's about the community and the value system of giving back. And so then I was like, okay, so with this, Tammy has chosen out of all the different global initiatives that she and I could collaborate together on, Tammy Watson with her Vision Club felt like for her ladies, this would be the best project that depicts and reflects what's in her book. And we have children in Haiti. And I meant to send this on to Ashton. Brandy, you can send this to him. Let's show this first, Ashton, the Kwame Michon video, so that you can see Ashton's gonna upload it right quick. I want you to see the village in Haiti that these kids are coming from. So what I'm about to show you, Paulette Walker, she's already been to this village. She knows all about this. She's been in Haiti with me. I think I saw Pastor Pam Phillips on here, one of the Pam Phillips here. They've been there with me. So you're talking about kids that bathe and literally bathe and get their water where pigs and goats with human feces and animal feces. It's a place called Croix de Mission, the Mission of the Cross. It is, they call it the armpit of Haiti, the poorest of the poorest. Ashley, she sent that over to you. So, and we identified the greatest need, the children with the greatest need, the least opportunity, but they were diamonds, they were pearls, and all they needed was for somebody to believe in them and give them a chance. And Tammy was like, this is what we're gonna do, because it represents my Vision Club and my Vision book. to be the extended family, to provide a better life for someone else. So the collaboration of what we're doing for her global initiative, to her Vision Book Club, the philanthropic part, the charity part, the humanitarian part, is we've identified 14 kids that in their village, no one has ever been to college. It's never happened. So the systemic chain of poverty has continued. And so we started out building an elementary school there. We're still building it. And we brought in about 11 wells so they can have clean water. Ashley, you can give me a thumbs up, Brady. Y'all let me know when the video is ready. At a clinic that we built there. But after all of that's done, we still, when they got ready to graduate, it's like, graduate to what? So what Tammy's doing is she's launching a collaborative effort of her book club, her book, with the project of sending these kids to school. And so what's going to happen is later on, she'll roll out her and Val how that's going to be. But I can tell this to you ladies, for what you pay to get your hair done will send a kid to college. And it's so shameful to think that a child can go to university for the price that we pay to get our hair done. And so we wanted it to be something that's attainable, something that everybody can reach, and that everybody do a little tiny part. And everybody's little tiny part speaks to what Angie's saying, speaks to what Carnita's saying, that we got to cry loud and spare not, and we got to break the bonds of wickedness, Carnita said, that the scripture says, so that the oppressed, those that have been oppressed, Carnita, you said, they can go free. And so we're doing it not just locally, but extending. The Bible says, the Proverbs 31 woman, she stretches her arm and yields her arm and stretches her arm abroad to the poor. And so are we ready? Let's show the video so you can see where they're from. I hope we have volume. I kind of threw this on Ashton. We had the other video, but I wanted you all to see where they're coming from, since we're talking about if you are. This is their community today.
Mimi, give her your clean water, I was gonna say. What about that belly, Dr. Wright?
I mean, it's no question that, her belly is filled with parasites. You can see, even in her eyes, that they're becoming yellowed, likely that her liver is overwhelmed trying to detoxify her body from, everything that she consumes. Even if it be so that she could just put it in her mouth and not drink it, that would be enough toxins over a period of time to overwhelm her detoxification system. What I think is so profound is that she doesn't have an understanding of doing anything different. She's just responding to the fact that she's thirsty and that there is water there, when in fact it's inherent upon us to bring her clean water, just like what she has now.
Her system probably has never had clean water. This child is probably drinking clean water. And if this is the source, this is the first time this child has ever had clean water in his life. Where else would it get it from? And look how she's drinking it. She's thirsty. Look how she's drinking it. Listen. Baby, it's okay.
So that's why Tammy chose this project. That's the village that these kids have grown up. That's all they've ever known. And we know that educating them can take them out of this village and do what Dr. Angie said. If they become a success, Dr. Angie, and they don't go back to change Kwame Mishan, they're not a success. So what we've done with this project that Tammy and I are doing together, their education, the contingency of us helping them is that they must make an oath and sign a covenant to go back and help the other kids that need to learn to read and write or that are non-literate. And so it is the project she's chosen. So these are the kids. These are the ones that we've depicted. So you actually get to see them. You get to know their names. We're going to do things where you ladies can come on directly with them and say hello to them and speak and find out how they're doing with their grades. You can pray for them. You can make confessions for them. You can change their life. Everything that Tammy's saying in her book, she's attached her book to this project. Ladies, everything that we've talked about, we can go from talking about it to actually making it happen. Some of these kids, you will see 28, 23. There's a little boy here, Carnitha, 25 years old when we first got to him, and he was still doing work of like a 4th grader, 5th grader. He never finished school. He was like 25 years old. And so these are just a few that we're starting out with. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to start out with this 6 and get them in and get them going and get them in school. And then we're going to grab another 5 or 6. And you guys are going to get to not only see it, but feel it, have skin in the game, take ownership. So as you today, as a pre-launch to Tammy's book, we're going to show the video. For every person that purchased the book, we're adding to add that Tammy's one of the keynote speakers to my Innovative Woman Conference. It's a conference together where we have world-class women coming together. 3 White House advisors, 1 ambassador, Ambassador Kamati Yahaya, who was the youngest Black or the youngest ambassador to the United Nations, the youngest ambassador to the African Union from the country of Kenya. We have Charissa Monroe Wilborn, which is the daughter of the late Dr. Miles Monroe. We have Jennifer Cruz, who was Miss America or Miss Illinois, one of those two. We have a person down there on the far right, Tammy Watson, on this international platform with these ladies. We have Dr. Michelle McKinney Hammond. Most of you have heard about her, a best-selling author, incredible work that she's done. And then we also have the woman who negotiated the Osama bin Laden letters. We don't have all of the panelists that are on this particular flyer. We grabbed the one that has Tammy on it, but the woman that negotiated the Osama bin Laden letters that led to his capture, a woman who negotiated for the hostage release of the Americans in South Sudan. Policy writers, educators that are specialized in the area of educational reform. The list goes on all the way to the other end of the spectrum of the home manager mother that's there juggling, working at home, homeschooling her kids, taking care of a family. We have women that are specialists in the area of entrepreneurship and finance. I mean, it's a complete conclave. It's not going to be public. It's not a seminar. It's not a conference. It's a closed conclave of 3 days of a think tank coming together and walking away with a solution, like some of the examples that we gave today. And in order to have access to the caliber of people, and then of course, on top of all of this, those of you who remember Wale Akiyeme is going to give us a closed session with him. These people that we have coming together are people that are consultants to the UN, to the White House. And I feel like we should be brought to the table. There's a place at the round table for us. We have to elevate from conferences and seminars and church only to we enter to worship, but we depart to serve. We enter to worship. And what sounds like Dr. Angie said to me, she and her husband said, she's like, I'm not going to just be your first lady. I'm going to be your first grade school teacher. So now we got to learn how to push up our sleeves and say, other people are not going to make the decisions for our society. We, as the one who rocks the cradle, rules the world. And what Tammy has taught us through her Vision Club and through her Vision book, we possess the power. We possess the God-given gifts and skills and ability. As we write that vision and make it plain, we can change our world. Angie says we can't change the world, but if we can change one child, we can make a difference in one person's life. So we're starting out with just 6 of them at a time that we can change their world. Tammy has equipped us. Tammy has brought the people on the scene, and I brought these heavy hitters to the table. Put Tammy on the international platform with them from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and we're going to support her, getting behind her. I'm inviting you, the other people that are paying for this. That's why I was saying you got to go to and click on their Tammy's Vision Book Club to get in. For you ladies, we put together a package where it's a $499 for free. You're not paying for that. you're going to get it. For those that are Tammy's Vision Book Club, you get it free. It is the Global Leadership Training, the Financial Transformation Institute, and the masterclass that I did for Dr. Bill Winston at Living Word. You're going to be able to get that along with Tammy's new book. The only part that you're going to pay for is the special price that we have for Tammy's group. So her book and the training for 3 days and the $499 masterclass, Global Leadership Training Center, and the Financial Transformation Institute, we're offering it all to everybody watching today for $75. All you need to do, get in touch with Tammy and say, just save me a spot. I may not have my money right now. I just simply need my name in there. And you're going to be in the conclave, in the round table, access, network with women from around the world that are, I believe that God is training us as modern day Esthers to operate on another level. Church, you know what this pandemic has taught us? I heard Angie say this. It has given us an opportunity, Tammy, to return to life as usual, Dr. Fran, or raise and elevate to the level that these policymakers, the policymakers that we have, they're going to teach us how to literally write policies, read policies. One of the women that we have, they tried to bring, this organization tried to bring pedophilia to South Africa. These group of women came together with church leaders and political leaders, and they stopped it, pushed it back, sent that organization back to America and said, you will not bring this filth to our children in our nation. And that's Dr. Pearl Coupe. We have two people from two different royal families, from the royal family in Botswana and the royal family in South Africa, who's going to be talking to us about some of the lost values that we as a people once had. These 3 days are transformative days. You may not be able to make all 3 sessions in a sense that may interfere with your schedule, but once your place, your name is on the spot and you're at the table and you're Tammy's guest, I believe that the women that are going to be going through this with Tammy, God is allowing Tammy to raise us up, all of us, all as women collaborating together, women that we are having access to, like the ambassador and the political White House advisors, that we wouldn't have access to them in this type of setting at one time, with the different ethnicities, the different, and then not to mention Dr. Miles Monroe's daughter, who groomed up under her father, ITLA, International Third World Leaderships Association. So ladies, I want to challenge you that with this Vision Book Club and this book that Tammy has launched, it was equipping us these last few weeks and days. It was preparing us not to return to life as usual, not to return. Dr. Fran, I have women I want you to meet in this conclave. I have people that I want you to partner with in this, because who knows, the people that you meet in this conclave, in this summit, and this closed round table are going to be some of the relationships that you establish and develop that you'll have with you from the rest of your life. And every last topic that we're hitting is mirrored in Tammy's Vision Book Club. So the book and the training that everybody else is paying all this money for, you get them both together to help support my sister with the pre-launch of her book. We took a cut on my conference and says, let's show and model to the women, Tammy, we can collaborate together, because they need to be a part of this. They get a chance. And I know there are people that are probably watching and saying, gosh, we paid last week the early bird special, and we didn't get Tammy's book and we didn't get all of that. Well, this is for Tammy's group, because they've been so faithful. They've been right there with Tammy. And there's so many people that have been with Tammy from the beginning. Dr. Fran, Mercedes Miller. What's the other name, Tammy? Help me out with the names. Let me go back to the names right quick that have been with you from the very beginning. She's right at the tip of my tongue, Tammy.
Elder Cynthia Dixon, Elder Paulette Walker, Janai Childress, Mavette Usher, and those are the people, the core people, and Prophet Brenda Todd. Those are the core people that has been around me, speaking into my life, leading me, guiding me, and of course, Dr. Patricia Bailey. Can't leave her out.
I push Tammy. Don't I push you? I push her every day, Dr. Fran.
Yes. So those are the core people that has been with me and working with me, praying with me, speaking into my life, and of course, my assistant Jen Bays. She has put on all the other stuff. And did I say Mavette Usher as well? Has been my core people. And then I have some dynamic followers that has been in the Vision Book from day one. And so I want to call them out and thank them. Miss Tracy Booker, Cheryl Collins, Connie Brown, Devora, Dr. Linda McRae, Ms. Leone, that's the one where get ready, you're going to get an email in Belize. This is a project that we're doing for her, that they have no personal items. They have no, just simple sanitary napkins for those kids. And you see Ms. Leone, she has been on there. And so you're going to be receiving an email from us that you can drop by my office, personal items. And we put a list there of the personal items that we're doing this for her. Of course, we cannot forget Ashton. He's been with me, helping us out go through this.
And Tammy, make sure they see your video that Ashton produced and put together for you. This shows Tammy's vision.
Rhea, we got Rhea, who's been with me, Regina Strickton, Cassandra. So we've had just a group of people that has been, and Dorothy, get her. I'm just trying to find all of you that's on here. And Angela, I want to say thank you so much for being my VIP. And those that did not get in on the VIP, you cannot get into the special Zoom because we're going to have some guest speakers next week. Dr. Patricia Bailey can tell you for the book launch, because this was a soft, we're doing a hard launch. You cannot get in unless you're on the VIP. So above the link there, we will need for you to go and do the VIP next week. You can see, of course, we haven't got all the speakers that's going to be there that we're working on, but Dr. Pamela Jackson, she is my publisher, so she will be one of the speakers, because it's so funny how she's been helping me put the book together, and Lord have mercy, she actually just got all into it and just come at me, oh my God, I didn't think about this. I'm creating vision for this. So it has been an amazing thing that what we're doing. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with me today. And I'm praying that you guys will be with us. And then we're going to have so many great content that's going to be coming out along with Dr. Patricia Bailey. And yes, with the Haiti Project, you know, she is teaching us, that is a piece in my book, that you all are going to be able to get a book and create vision for yourself. And so what we did tonight, we were able to help you see, we were able to give you concept and ideals so you can be able to dig within you to pull out, and so you can be able to write the vision. Because sometimes some of these people did not hear, may have never heard, that are listening to us, okay? You hear me? I'm telling you, when Dr. Angela said what she said about the speaker that spoke to her, about she failed the community, let me tell you, when I heard that, that hit me right on the inside of my guts. And so that's why God had me name the book, The Vision Within, because it is inside of you. And so we're going to bring content to you so you can be able to write, so you can be able to be intentional. And so we're so thankful for you all that has been right there with me from day one. And as God blessed me, we're asking God to dump the blessings upon your life as well. Because I tell you, Dr. Patricia Bailey, did I say Mercer Miller?
I called her name out first. That was one of the
You did. Look, the Holy Spirit said, well, did you say Mercer out of your mouth? So I just wanted to make sure that I give honor where honor is due for those, that core group of women that has surrounded me, that calls me, that speak into my life and just cover me. They cover me and just push me and speak, you know. And I just want to thank you. Maviette, she spent this time this week, her and Dr. Francine Hash and Paulette just calling me, making sure that I was together. Even Paulette, she picked up some pieces for me to help me out and just collaborating together. And so I just want to say thank you, thank you. I did get testimonies from you ladies. If you want to send me your testimony as well, I are putting those testimonies in my book, because you are going to be the one that's going to inspire other people and not just me, because this book is not about me. It's about all of you, the purpose that God has called you on this earth. Thank you, Dr. Patricia Bell.
You all need to do a great big, we're going to show Tammy's video, but can I get y'all to give a great big old kiss to Tammy, because it's because of Tammy's Vision Book Club that this Coles Conclave, and I want everybody to understand, let's just give you something very briefly. The ambassador from Kenya, which was the youngest woman ever to the UN or to the African Union, and let's say Wale Akimi, you guys already know what kind of money Wale commands per minute, okay? All of this conclave of people, you're going to be into that closed round table because Tammy took her vision and what was available to her and shared it with you. And so we wanted to model, Tammy and I wanted to model. We can't, it's one thing to preach it, but another thing to live it in front of you, that as we come together and collaborate together as one, we are better together and we have more leverage. And so I can't wait to have you at the table. I can't wait for you to be there to support Tammy. I can't wait for you to support her book. We need you to go right away. I know some of you are wondering, as soon as you watch this video, where do we go? Where do we go? The information is going to be on the screen exactly where you go to at the end of the video. So let's look at this wonderful video that Ashton put together to show Tammy's vision, how she's connecting the vision book with the project, the Vision Project. Let's get ready. Hi, I'm Dr. Pat Bailey, and I'm with my friend Tammy. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tammy Watson.
And Tammy's company is?
I'm here in Winston-Salem. I'm with Coldwell Banker, and I have a team that is called Diversity Driven Real Estate Group.
And I'm so excited because Tammy and I grew up together, for those of you that are going to be watching the video that's about to follow. And Tammy and I have done a lot of things together, but what we're about to do now, Tammy is expanding her company and her reach globally. So she did it with her Vision Book Club, but now she's doing with a philanthropic initiative of sending children to school. Talk about empowerment, Tammy. I am so excited about our collaborative effort together. And the thing that's so powerful of what we're going to be doing together, Tammy, and thank you for your willingness to just take the lead on this. You and Val, she's so excited for you and your incredible team there in Winston-Salem. So many kids in a little village called Quadamishan that have never had a chance to go to college because of you, Tammy, because of your company, Tammy, and because of your vision and your heart, Tammy. These kids that have been literally trapped in a village where human feces, animal feces, goats, pig, they're drinking and all the same water, bathing in the same water, and they've been living beneath the poverty level. But because God saw fit to bring to earth a woman by the name of Tammy Watson, who lives her life beyond herself, those 14 children that are going to school, to college, it's going to change their destiny, Tammy. And so what's so powerful today is that you get a chance to speak to those that are some of your clients, some of the people of your book club, and the people in your sphere circle to be a part of helping to make your vision come to pass. As I know your passion, I know your heart. It wasn't enough to just do the Vision Book Club. It wasn't just enough to have the business. Your why behind the wealth and your why behind the mission is to empower other people. Tell people very briefly before they look at the video and see the 14 children that they're going to help send to school. What's your passion? What makes you want to help send kids to school? What's your why behind what you do?
Well, you know, Dr. Patricia Bailey, I really appreciate it that we can collaborate together to do this because, you know, when we see kids that are struggling, such as the kids in Haiti, and they are in need, you know, because I have kids, I would not want my kids or my grandkids to go through what they're going through. So when you came to me and you asked me, you know, let's work together and let's help save other children. And I'll say, yes, let's do this because this is so important. So one of the things that I do here as you know, as a real estate agent, I do give 10% of my commission when I sell a property, or either when I'm working with a buyer or with a seller, because that is my heart, is to give back. Because God tells us to sow and to take care of the poor, to take care of the least fortunate. And so by me being who I am, because God has blessed my life and has changed who I am today, and because of the legacy that I'm going to be leaving for my children, it's only good to sow a seed, to help someone else, to help another child, to help them to create vision. And so one of the things that I love that what we're doing now is that I have a vision book that we're going to be launching and we're going to be talking about. We have been working together, creating vision for other people. And one of the pieces that we have in there is charity. And in that book of creating vision, begin to see, to go, because God said that we are to give, we are to give, we are to take care of the poor. And so a lot of times that when people are creating vision, Dr. Patricia Bailey, they leave out the piece of charity.
They certainly do.
They put in the piece of success. But in order for us to be able to have that success, God said that we are to give. So in the vision book that we're doing, that we're launching, it's going to teach people to create vision and to hear from God and to be able to give in such a thing like this, because to help children. And then that piece in that vision book, it talks about legacy. So when you put a piece in giving, think about your children. What's going to happen?
A legacy.
What's going to come to your children? People, when you're kids, I just want to say this. My son had something that happened to him last year that was dear to my heart, and I told you what happened. And he could have went to jail, but because I sow and I give to the kids and help the poor, guess what?
God intervened.
Brought people to rescue my child and opened the door, and for him to not to go to jail.
And his innocence was proven. His innocence was proven.
Yes, and that the truth was revealed, that he did not do what was said because I give. Think about if I didn't give with the money that God gives to me in real estate. Think about that. If he did not give that to me, Dr. Patricia Bailey, oh my God, my son's life wouldn't have been saved. Because of a lie, he brought it to truth.
God exposes truth. And then not only that, Tammy, but I mean, you've also done other initiatives like the whole piece in South Africa, where 450 kids were infected with COVID-19 virus. And you sent money over to South Africa by way of Ashton's parents and their orphanage without any hesitation, and helped spare the life and provide to decontaminate the place for the children to have a place to come back to after they went through the quarantine. And so you've just been a giver all your life. I know there's so many other initiatives. Let's tell the people very briefly what they can expect with these kids that are going to be going to college. They're going to go to college, and Tammy's initiative is an empowerment initiative. So you can either give a person a fish or you can teach them to fish. Tammy has chosen a sustainable initiative, meaning that after we empower them to go to college, they can go back to their little village and empower others. And so it's the gift that keeps on giving when you send a child to school. Always remember this: an educated mind is a developed mind. Tammy, thank you so much for this collaborative effort. And you know what? Only in eternity, Tammy, will we see the full manifestation of the impact that you and your team and all of the ones that are your friends and everybody that jumps on board, because we know this is going to go viral. So many people want to be a part of it, and they're going to get to know the name of the child, the student, I should say, that they're helping to go to school. And to think that somebody can go all the way through university for literally less than the price of what we would pay monthly for a child to go to school. I'm talking about for pennies, children can go to college and finish and get a degree for something as simple as giving up your cup of Starbucks for the day. And so we're so excited, and I just can't wait to see. You know what, Tammy? We're better together. Let's do a high five right now in the virtual five. Bam! See you next time, friend.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dr. Pat Bailey, and I'm here in Haiti and Quadimichon, and here at the school, EBI, we made a slogan that they're the economic solution to Haiti. On last year, we gave our word that if the students remain diligent with their academics, with their character development, that we would find people that will scholarship them to go to university. Well, here are our future candidates. They better smile and look up, because someone's looking, and we're trusting that someone on the other side of this camera will look for one to adopt to send to university.
Supporting empowerment, educational institute. I am the economic solution for Haiti.
Wow, Tammy. I know they were touched by what they just saw. And for those of you that are watching this, at any time you're watching, know this, that when you partner with Tammy Watson and her company, you're not just buying a house, you're providing a life for someone else. And I've always believed this, Tammy. What you make happen for others, God will always make happen for you. How can they get in touch with you if they're interested in buying a house or want to tell their family member, or friend, or colleagues about purchasing a house? Because one thing about your company, you're giving back. How can they reach you?
Yes, my name is Realtor Tammy Watson, and I'm here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The name of my company is Caldwell Banker Advantage, and my team is a diversity-driven real estate team.
Wow. So all the information is on the screen to be able to contact Tammy and hop on board and become a part of this initiative with us as we empower children to go to college. See you next time. So there you go, Tammy and Pat, little two Winston-Salem little girls, North Kakalaki girls working together, and us together, coming all together, all of you ladies believing like Dr. As she said, that we believe that we can change the world. We may not be able to change the whole world, but our little world. So where you go very, very briefly is sistersempoweringtheworld.com, or either dial this number. Everybody jot this number down. Now remember, ladies, I know how my people can be sometimes. You mess around and the other persuasion ends up filling up these slots with these world-class leaders that we're bringing together. That's gonna thrust you into a whole nother world of thinking and repositioning you. Don't sleep on this. Tammy's book is going to be one of the main things preparing you. You've been through the Vision Club, now she's done the book, and then now this world-class innovative training. Put the flyer up with Tammy as one of the speakers there. You're going to call this number, and you've got to say when you call, and you've got to say when you go to the site that you're with Tammy's Vision Book Club, whether you're hopping on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform you're on, Periscope, you got to say Tammy Watson's Vision Club. That's the only way you're going to get this special, where you get the book and the training and the $499 class. After the training is over for the next few months, you get that free of charge. That's Tammy's gift to you. So you see Tammy down over there in the corner. She's one of our innovative speakers that are going to be October the 2nd through the 4th. That's the dates. Save the date, October the 2nd through the 4th, along with all these other world-class leaders, because women are not supposed to compete. They're not supposed to compete. They're supposed to complete each other. Right, Paulette? We complete each other. We push each other. We believe in each other. We share platforms with each other. Now, here's the number: 336-782-1228. 336-782-1228. Now, remember, when you call that number, you're going to get Tammy's book, along with the whole training for 3 days with all of those scholars into the closed conclave of teachers, plus the $499 training. So you get the $499 after this is over, those 3 institutions: Financial Transformation Institute, Global Leadership Training, and the Master Class. That's free. You're just going to get that for being a part of Tammy's Book Club. Then also, number 1, you get Tammy's book. You get the book, the Vision book, and you get all of the training for those 3 days for the innovative woman. And this is all simply for $75. Her book, the training. So some of you, even if, as I said, if you're don't have it right now, save your spot. And once your spot is saved, you can call that number. You can go to sistersempoweringtheworld.com, call Tammy. Make sure you don't drag your feet on this. I've got to dash out to the airport right now to pick up a guest that's coming in from New Orleans. As a matter of fact, Dr. Shanette's daughter is coming in to spend some time with Brandy. We're out of here, but I wanted to give Tammy, as big as my schedule is, I'm pushing her. All of us, let's show Tammy how proud we are of her with her book. Get that book, support her, and tell everybody about the hard launch that's going to be next week, where she'll have the actual hard copy. But this week, we did a pre-order special by me putting my innovative conference, that she's one of the keynote speakers with these world-class leaders and White House advisors and political analysts, together with Tammy's book, all for $75. Throw it on a credit card right now, save your spot. All the notes, all the handouts, everything is Tammy's gift to you. Thank you so much for hopping on this week. Tammy, I'm gonna have to exit out and run to LAX. I hope you listen. Can I ask a question of your ladies before I hop off, because it's been a while? Did anybody get blessed today? Did this feel like sisterhood today? Did we feel any kind of love? Did we feel sisterhood? Do we believe that we can really make a difference, ladies? If you felt that in any kind of way, Tammy, unmute them and let's shout out and show some love to each other today. Can I feel your love? Can Tammy feel your love? I want to believe that we didn't waste our time putting it together.
Woo! That was wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank
Good.
Renita Jones, we want to thank her. Dr. Shanette, we want to thank her. Our dear sister, Dr. Williams, we want to thank her. We ran out of time for Brittany Rush, but we'll bring her back on when Tammy and I do it together again. And I'm just so excited about the path and the journey that Tammy has us on. Literally personal development, character development, and this world-class innovative woman coming together, the people that you're going to meet and be a part of your life. It's a season to change your social circle. It is a season to expand your social circle. Remember the relationship currency piece. It's time for a set of new people in your life. Some of the people in your life has taken you as far as you can go. Get ready to develop some new relationships. Think out of a different mindset, think out of the box, and be a game changer. Don't forget, quickly dial that number. It's a 1-800, a number that you can call 24 hours, 336-782-1228. Once you call, you'll get Tammy's book. Next week is going to be the hard launch. And every single week, I'm sure Tammy's going to continue to take us up and take us up. And ladies, there's a place at the round table for you. Thank you so much, Tammy. We're off to the airport. I love you, ladies. Don't sleep
Take
on
care.
this.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dr. Pat.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thanks.